Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to be here tonight. This is the October 5th, Cincinnati TV Toastmasters Club meeting. And I am so excited to be with everyone here tonight.
Welcome, everyone, to our October 5th Toastmaster meeting, Cincinnati TV Toastmasters. And we have, let's see, next on our agenda, we have table topics. And our table topic presenter is Veronica Sanford. Veronica?
Now, generally, I like to have guests speak at table topics. Rick, would you be okay to answer a table topic question?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Rick, in the interest of speaking on body language and working to not abstain from great body language, what are some of your tricks and techniques in order to remind yourself to use your arms, etc.?
I interpret Madam Table Topics Master, Hello Toastmasters, and I think we've got a guest there. I interpret body language as more than just my arms. I interpret it as being able to move around some. And I actually write into my speeches when I am going to move. When I transition from, say, my introduction into my very first point, I like to move a step. And then when I transition to the next point, I move one more step. So I go, maybe like right, middle, left, middle, right. And that gives me a time to sort of tell people, I believe, that I am doing a change rather than just doing a pause. So I look at body language a little bit differently. But as far as arms, if you would see me right now, I am really using my arms a lot. But but you can't see me. I guess you'll have to trust me. But I really am big, and even though I'm in a car, if I were going outside of my body width, I'd be slamming into a window, though. So I'm trying to keep it as wide as I can, but I'm slamming a little bit too, though. But that's what I think in terms of body language, specifically hand gestures too, though. I'm Table Topics Master.
Joe, sorry to catch you off guard.
No,
The
no problem.
word
That's
of
fine.
the word of the day is abstain. The theme of the day is body language. And so the question for you is, what tips and techniques do you use in order to make sure that you use plenty of body language when you speak on Toastmasters? Thank you.
And you said the word of the day was upstage?
Abstain.
Abstain. Thank you. Anyway, glad to see a great crowd here today. Well, let's see. All I can think of is ways to use the word abstain, but now I forget the main. About gestures and such. Historically, in the time I've been in Toastmasters, my hands seem to be the main device for trying to pull the right ideas and words out of my head, because I'm always rambling. I'm like a tree with too many branches, and I give the same speech 10 times, and I'll pull different branches or ideas or fruitful aspects of content, and generally not in the most appropriate way to be using gestures to illustrate your. I mean, I can do the simple things like expanding or whatever, but I never intentionally abstain from using appropriate gestures, but again, my thinking stream typically, that in my hands frequently go in different directions. So thank you for the opportunity to wave to y'all.
Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate you pitching. And now I'd like to turn it over to Jeff. And Jeff, would you like to answer the same question, or you like a politician and make up your own?
I could do the same question. Can you repeat the question for me?
Yes. In the interest of using both the word abstain and our theme for today, which is body language, can you speak to us any hints you may have as to how to remember to use body language in your speeches?
I don't think you really necessarily have to remember it, but you do need to remember there's different types of body language. I think Janet alluded to that a little bit earlier. What I see people do a lot is emphasize. That just comes natural. I see even beginner speakers will always emphasize something, and they'll shake their arms or they'll shake their hands. But I think you can also show body language or gesturing in particular by describing the size or the shape of something. You know, for example, some people will do the heart, or they'll say it was really stretched thin, or it was a really large, or they'll indicate how high or low something is. All of that just reinforces what you're saying to the listener. I'm trying to think of some other types of body language. I just think surprise, or I've even seen with the international speech contest back in the day, you know, a couple of years ago, when, or last year, I guess, when it was during the pandemic and we were virtual only, people would use the camera, they would get really close or they would get far away, and different things like that, all of that to engage the audience and keep them more entertained. So I love it. I think it's great to use body language, and I try to remember to use different types of body language when I give my speeches. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much. And in the interest of time, I would like to turn it back over to our Toastmaster today, Janet Kassalen.
All right, thank you, Veronica. Fake news and imagery have reached new depths with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence techniques. Cybersecurity specialist DeShawn Raimey will show us how to differentiate truth from fiction. Interacting with a cyber threat, DeShawn Raimey, interacting with a cyber threat.
All right. Let's start all the way over here. Greetings, TV Toastmasters and guests. Cybersecurity is an ever-growing field and a extreme good reason. Now, did you know that 2,200 cyber attacks happen per day? So a cyber attack happening every 39 seconds on average. Now, how many of you have actually experienced or been a victim of cyber attack, such as maybe your account was hacked? Okay. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a glimpse of a widely spreading problem here in the cybersecurity world. Okay, now I have emails, kind of Facebook, Messenger, anything like that. How many messaging apps? How many of you have a messaging app? Everybody, right? Okay, so this is going to be very, very, very important for you. Now, what I need you to do is to unmute yourselves. I'm going to need some audience participation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where I was being attacked, and I had to be aware that I was being attacked from a cybersecurity threat. So as I go through here, go ahead and shout out if you see anything wrong with these particular messages that I'm going to show you here. If it moves. Okay. So here is Facebook Messenger. Now on Facebook Messenger, here's my friend VT. His real name is Vince. Now here, we have been friends since about 2013. So we've had a lot of conversations before. It's just been a while. Now what's very interesting is I just saw him on October 8th. So let me go ahead and go through this message here. Now, he says, we're blessing families with bills today from PBG. Do you got a Cash App? I say, nice. What's PBG? And yep, it's a Pepsi bottling company. What's your Cash App? Now, there we go. I'm liking the head shake there. You're giving me indications that you're saying that right there is an indicator of compromise, is what we call that. Now, for me, I enjoy this. I love getting the phone calls and these messages. This is a great practice for me. And I automatically raised my eyebrow when I received this message, but I knew that he couldn't get anything from just a Cash App name. So I'll go ahead and play along. Oh, I add in my Cash App. He sends that screenshot that was next here. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Now here he responds, is your Cash App beefier than this? Okay, he shows me a screenshot of Bitcoin on Cash App. So I respond, I wish, a normal $0 balance. So he says, go to your Bitcoin in your Cash App and send me a screenshot. So I went to the screenshot and I sent him the $19,000 screenshot there. And he says, I got 8,800 on his. So I'm going to give you 5,000. Is that cool? Automatically, I'm like, oh man, yeah, right. So I reply, nice. Now, all you need to do is add $150 to your Cash App. You ain't sending it to nobody. Does this look legit to you? Any indicators here?
Not at all.
Right. Now, here we go. Now, all you need to do is, just add it and send me a screenshot once you did. Now, here is a picture of himself. Why is he sending a picture? Now, let's go ahead and play this picture. Hopefully, you can hear this. You can do it. Okay, you see his movements of his head? Would you automatically reply to this? I mean, he's got a video, right? He's showing it's proof. So we move on to the next. It's me. Right. So I asked him, when's the last time you saw me? He ignores this question. I understand perfectly. You have every reason to be scared because there's so many more of the scams out there these days. But I'm going to assure you that this is 100% real. No BS, you have my word. So I say, okay, great. So you don't steal from people and break God's commandments, right? Now, every time I do, yes, that's the next video there. Every time that I get these type of messages or phone calls, it's funny because whenever I bring up God, they always run. So you don't steal from people and break God's commandments, right? Do you accept the consequences and judgment? And then he sends me this picture of this license. And you see anything wrong with this license? It's really me, man. What are you talking about? And then he sends another screenshot like, look, somebody got $10,000 from this. So we're going to go back through these and I'm going to point out, let's see if, I'm sure you all looked and you found some indicators of compromise. Let's see if you found all of them. Okay, so here is the first one. We're blessing families with bills today. So he's basically going to give me a bill and take my money. Okay, so that is one little indicator. PBG. There is no PBG company out there, even if you Googled it, the Pepsi bottling company. So he should have said PBC, which is not existent also. Next up, go to Bitcoin in your Cash App and send me a screenshot. If somebody is going to send you money, why would you need to deposit money into your own application? I got 8,800, so I'm going to give you 5,000. Now, if you're in customer service, you're going to keep $8,800, and Pepsi's just going to give that to you, and you're going to just give me 5,000. You know, and by the way, I'm going to get a little upset because somebody got 10,000, and I'm his brother, his fraternity brother. So you're just going to give me 5,000. The other person got 10. But hey, you know, beggars can't be choosers. So now all you need to do is add $150 to your Cash App. So always be wary if somebody asks you to do something such as this. You ain't sending it to nobody. Now, Vince has great grammar. He would not say something like that in that sentence. And so that automatically, to me, was a red flag. Next up. Oh, come on, baby. Here is his video. Now, when I look at this deeper, his face isn't right. It's a little bit blocky. It's his face is more round like mine, not in the shape of a square. But this is going to be really hard for people to tell. Now, what this is called is what the hacker did is he used deep fake technology. Now, deepfakes, they get their name from the fact that they use deep learning technologies to create fake videos. Artificial intelligence, which is that big popular phrase that we hear all the time these days, it effectively learns what a particular face looks like at different angles. And then in order to transpose the face onto a target, so it takes the face, pictures of it, lifts it up and puts it onto a digital mask. So let me repeat that so it'll make a little bit more sense. A deep fake would be footage that is generated by a computer that has been trained through countless images. Now, how do you think these people get these images? Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So when you're out there taking videos and you're showing people the world on what you're doing, they can easily snatch that off the internet and they can use your face. Okay, so here is a deep fake of Jim Carrey. Now, one thing that you can do to try to detect this, if you're speaking to somebody who's actually catfishing you, is you can, if you notice here, when he turned the side of the face, ask somebody, even when you're in a Zoom meeting, say, hey, can you turn your face and do this? The AI is trying to keep up with the images, and most likely it doesn't have a side view picture of your ear. Or say, hey, can you take your hand and do this and move it around the face? You will see little trails. Push your finger against your nose. You will see the picture does not look right at all, and you will be able to notice an actual digital image. So look at unnatural movements. You know, does the face match the tone itself? Do the details seem blurry or obscure? You know, is there problems with the skin or the hair? Does the lighting look natural? Do words or sounds not match up with the visuals? And is the source reliable? And if in doubt, ignore. Call that person up, which is exactly what I did. And I said, hey, Vince, man, you got hacked, didn't you? And he said, oh, man. Okay, the best thing you can do is report it. Abstain from sharing these images. You will not want somebody to do this to you, and you will not want it shared. Once it gets shared, it's a whole different ball game right there, trying to actually track that down and get that taken down. Okay. So let's move on to back over to that next slide here. What else do we have here? Right. So when is the last time you saw me? He just saw me. And I knew where exactly he was going in Cincinnati. And so it's, why are you sending me a text message about this when I know you're at an event? Yet alone, this was about 10, it was nighttime. It was like really late at night. So, all right. Also, check out this license. Now, you know, if you have a false license or an expired license, the state of Ohio goes and they punch that. You notice it says Ohio there, and that's a Missouri license. So that is an expired license. Why would you send that? Now, what actually happened is his account, his phone was hacked. His account on Facebook was taken, and they wound up taking all of his video images. And he had a picture of his driver's license of this, and which is what they were using. And then also, if you notice down here at the bottom, the little how he scratched out the name there of himself is, why would you do that? We're gonna move on down here. And what you talking about? Like I said, he has proper grammar. He is not going to speak like that. So always look at the way that a person is speaking to you. You should know this person that you're talking to. Someone even got $10,000. I've already explained that. Why are you only going to give me 5 and somebody got 10? He would not do that to me. He's got a way more love for me. Okay. So at this point, now deepfakes, how I gave you tips on how you can spot it from turning your head and such, and the lighting of it all. Now, that is going to get fixed. Hackers are always looking for perfection. And so that's going to go away. But for right now, these are the tips that you can use. This is what you can do to save your kids and your grandkids, because they can get a random phone call at any time and say, hey, I'm going to come pick you up. And they're thinking that they're talking to their mother, but they're not. They're actually talking to an AI person that is using deepfake technology that is fooling them. Okay, now it's not all bad. You see deepfake technology on things like Star Wars and the Terminator, where Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back and he looks young again. It's because they are using that same technology there. But now you have to watch out for the dangers of it all. So thank you so much for your time. Let me stop taking up so much of your time. Definitely contact me afterwards if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we can move on to the second portion of our meeting, which will be led by our general evaluator, Joy.
Thank you, Janet, Toastmaster of the day. So for all of us in Toastmasters, or any guests or anyone new, you understand that Toastmasters is all about public speaking and how we can practice our public speaking, how we can have impromptu as well as prepared speeches. But another point for Toastmasters is to be able to give evaluations and to become mentors for other people and to help other new Toastmasters come along. So this portion of the meeting is about evaluating our speakers and learning, a little bit more about how well we did tonight or what we could have done better. So we have an evaluator for speaker one. Speaker one was DeShawn Raimey, who taught us a lot, interestingly, about cybercrime. And our evaluator for that is Janet Kassalen. So Janet, let's see what you have for an evaluation of Sean's speech.
Well, thank you, Sean, for pointing out some tips of how we can tell whether something is fake or not. Let me see it on our computers. And I enjoyed your enthusiasm and high energy throughout your speech. And you gave many examples of fake information. I especially thought it was interesting that someone had a Missouri driver's license that said Ohio on it. That's a big giveaway. And I kept hearing the poor grammar, like ain't, things like that. And so I know that I could probably guess whether something is fake or not. You talked about our faces becoming blurry, something about if you turn your head to the side, there weren't too many pictures of the ear, so maybe that was like wavy or something. I was a little bit confused when I think you were asking us to put our finger on our nose or some other part of our face. I wasn't quite sure if you were telling us to do that. I wasn't sure why you wanted us to do that.
That was
I thought,
if I was fake and you do this, then you would see a blur that would occur. So it was, hey, if you spot somebody and you're talking to them and you think that they're not real, tell them to put their finger on their nose and push or move their head. And
I see.
since it's fake imagery, you'll see the fake imagery. The more they move, the more fakeness you'll notice.
Oh, okay. So I'm supposed to ask the person on the screen to touch their nose.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Let's see. You wanted me to point out the number of times you said, I did catch one or two several ahs, and a couple you knows, but it wasn't an exorbitant amount. It didn't detract from your speech. And I thought you did a pretty good job of explaining what a deep fake was, and it was good that you gave us 3 or 4 different examples and give us the tip to say, are you breaking God's commandments? To ask the person that, and that throws them for a loop. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on cyber attacks and deep fake information. And I really enjoyed the speech. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So moving on to more evaluation of tonight's meeting. The reason why we go through and time things is so that people can be prepared if they choose to go on to competitions or contests where you can be eliminated if you go over. However, here we time just for people to get an idea of 1 to 2 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes, and our timer tonight was Jeff. Do you have a timer report for us?
I do. I appreciate that everybody abstained from rambling and meandering tonight in their speaking. Instead, we were concise and focused, albeit a little bit over. For table topics, Rick, 1:59. Fantastic there. Joe, 1:49. And myself, I was 1:35. DeShawn, your speech was 13:48. But it was fantastic. I was engrossed in every second of it. So fantastic job there. And Janet, you were at 3:30 on the evaluation. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As you know, this isn't a competition. You don't get kicked out for going over. And I actually was looking forward to this presentation. So I had expected that it was a little bit longer than our typical 5 to 7 minute speech. And I enjoyed it 13 minutes worth. All right, let's see. I am supposed to speak about the word of the day. So I'm going to abstain any harsh criticism because any critiques offered are for our self-improvement. And everybody used the word of the day. So Janet used it more than everyone else. She gets the prize for abstaining the best. And Veronica used it. Joe also used it. And DeShawn used it as well. So I thought that was really, really good. I enjoyed very few ums and ahs tonight. There were very few. We're a pretty polished group. So I just said so and well and so I have to police myself as well as everyone else. But really there were very few. And we did point out that using and well or so as the lead in to your next point is not a most professional way of doing it. One of our guests, Rick, mentioned that he was not going to be able to be on camera, but he did an excellent job helping us with visualization and telling us about being in his car and that we were going to have to trust that he was using his hands because tonight's theme was body language. And I will have to say that I appreciated him speaking up even without being on camera. You're a very important part of the meeting tonight. As everyone, what I would like to say about body language is that I can't help but use my hands when I talk. So the way we are 100% virtual, Cincinnati TV Toastmasters. So I have to make sure that I'm not making all these great gestures where the camera can't pick them up. So I have found myself a little bit more of using hand gestures up in front of my face, just so that I can have a little bit more emphasis. I like the idea that Jeff said some people really got in front of the camera to make more impact, but we're used to being on Zoom. We're used to being on camera, so we can use that technique or not. Let's see. Okay, I did the grammarian. I did the word of the day. So my general evaluator comments, as I said, we talked about public speaking. We talked about evaluating other people's speeches, getting them done in time. One of the things that I liked about DeShawn's presentation was that I could identify with that. I really could. I not so much for people being on camera or even sending me a picture of themselves, but people on Messenger. I got a message from someone and I thought it was a high school classmate. And we've been Facebook friends all these years, and I've only seen her like once or twice since high school. And as soon as she tried to sell me something, I knew it wasn't her. There was a little polite interaction, which you don't always get, but there was some hi, how are you, that kind of thing. And I thought, well, that's really odd that Sarah's reaching out like this. Soon I just abstained from continuing the conversation. And after a while, and she kept saying, are you still there? And those kind of things, I said, oh, sorry, I thought this was really Sarah. And then I just dropped it. All right, so that's a little bit more about the evaluation of tonight. I'll have some closing comments after we hear our Toastmaster comments. So Janet, would you like to give us your comments in general about our whole meeting tonight?
Well, I'm glad that those of us who are in our cars were able to attend, and we had several guests. There were some little technical glitches, but we, kind of expect that a little bit with technology, but we went ahead and thought it was a very good meeting. I was just wondering, our guest, Jermaine, is he still here?
He was here up until just a moment ago, but I don't
Okay.
see his square.
I was just gonna ask him if he thought got his technical issues resolved. But anyway, everyone was polite and tried to deal with situations as best we could. So kudos to the club for putting together another nice meeting, and kudos to Jeff Vaught for getting our guest speaker, DeShawn, to talk about cyber attacks. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Janet. And thank you, Jeff and Veronica and everyone who helped. DeShawn is anxious and willing to help by being a speaker. So I'm glad that that was accomplished. I will have to say that when I thought of cybercrime, I thought of the corporation level more than one-on-one, because a lot of my career in project management was with Fortune 400 companies. I've worked for one Fortune 100 company, but the big company, even here in Cincinnati, Fortune 400 companies, in 10 years, over 10 years of working with one client, 10 years off and on, I didn't get 10 pieces of spam or unwanted mail or anything like that. They must have an excellent filtering system. And it was shocking when something did get through, because again, that's what corporations do. They block out, Macy's and Kohl's and things like that are legitimate. It could be a good sale, but that is blocked out on so much of corporate. And they gave the statistics. DeShawn gave us a statistic about how often, was it 39 seconds? How often cybercrime is being committed, or cyber, potential crime like that, if you had fallen for that. And it's just, it is something rampant out there. It is a game to some people, and yet it could be profitable for other people if they're able to do that. So thank you for reminding us to do all those checks. And I'm appreciative of the corporations who keep all that unwanted email out of our systems. And I don't remember any of the statistics, but they block a lot per day because people are trying to get through. And I also heard that Black Friday, I did work in HIPAA security at one of our big Fortune 400 companies here in Cincinnati. And they said Black Friday, all of the advertisers are trying to get through to people in corporations. If they can get their message through, they have succeeded in technically not a cyber threat so much, but unwanted email. All right, let's see. Again, I appreciate all of us being here tonight. I think I had a grin last week, which was a little bit about what I do in my free time. I think I told you what I was reading. But right now I'm watching a lot of TV. So I do want to remind us all that television is a medium, but anything well done is rare. It's just a grin. It's just a grin. I'm not a joke teller, that's for sure.
Medium rare. Okay.
All right.